15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome everyone to another video from American Stock FPL. This week there's a little bit of an international break, but we also had a big transfer deadline day and week. Many different players came into the Premier League, big time players like Cavani, and then also big time fantasy things like Brewster, a 4.5 moving as well. So we'll kind of discuss that this week, and then we'll also be discussing our Game Week 4 recap. Jason, how'd you do with Game Week 4? Did you get some green arrows?
Yep, it was definitely a green arrow week for me, so I think it'll be a nice recap for us.
Yeah, here at American Stock FPL, we are all about getting green arrows. If you guys want to join the ride and get green arrows like Jason, please give us a like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be doing this every week. Unfortunately for me, I had just a mild red arrow. Kind of took me just above the top 500,000 area. But overall, things went fairly okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being in that spot.
Alright, so Jason, tell me a little bit what you saw in Game Week 4.
All right, first off was Chelsea against Palace. I think the big takeaway from this game is that Chelsea's new look defense played pretty well, but their new look offense kind of continued to struggle despite the big uptick in goals. So I think overall Chelsea's offense is still kind of a wait and see for me. Second match, Everton versus Brighton. Not much to see here. Everton kept rolling. Calvert-Lewin on the score sheet. James Rodriguez with max bonus points with 2 goals, 1 assist. So Richarlison did get injured, so keep an eye on that, but I don't think it looked too bad. So keep investing in those Everton attacking assets. That's the takeaway I had from that. Moving on to City versus Leeds. That was definitely an end-to-end match. Pretty exciting. And then it only ended up 1-1 somehow. I thought there would have been a lot more goals than that, but it just didn't quite happen. But yeah, I think just the big takeaway there is that both teams are going to remain pretty open, I think. And I would expect more attacking returns from both of them going forward. After that, Newcastle got a much-needed win against Burnley. Callum Wilson on the score sheet. Same with Alan St. Maximin. Also had an assist for both of them. So I'm still not huge on Newcastle, but at least their attacking assets showed signs of life. So if you have them, they might be holds at this point with that nice performance. And then West Ham, another upset this week. They beat Leicester 3-0. Mikel Antonio on the score sheet along with Jared Bowen. Those are two, differential picks very under the radar. Unfortunately, my guy Souček did not get on the score sheet this time. But I think going forward, West Ham's fixture list is still kind of rough, but they have been producing some nice results, and their underlying stats for a lot of these budget assets look pretty good. So they're a team to keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah, West Ham has really been a spark this season, and big time eyes on them for fantasy. We're all kind of a little bit worried with their schedule, but they seem to be doing well regardless of it. It was good to see Newcastle do well and see St. Maximin produce. Burnley, it's been a bit of a disappointment. They used to be one of the top clean sheet people when they're conceding goals this season.
Yeah, maybe once they get healthy, we can rely on them again. But for now, it's kind of tough to trust their defense.
Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about the Saints game. A little bit disappointing. They did get the clean sheet for all the defense owners, but Adams and Ings were disappointing in the game. West Bromwich continued to be one of the kind of teams to target in the Premier League. Arsenal also was a little bit of a worrying underlying stats. Aubameyang, he only had 2 goal attempts. So overall, their offense looked a bit worrying in that game. They did get a good result though, 2-1. Wolves, speaking, another disappointing, it would be Jimenez owners. He did not perform well. He only had 4 penalty touches. And he only had 2 shots in the box. Potence was very minimal. It's good to see him healthy, but he was subbed off. One of the big bright spots, in my opinion, for Wolves was Semedo. He came out with a clean sheet, and he also had a one-on-one chance in the box. So there could be some really good attacking returns coming for Semedo. For Mitrovic owners, he did have 3 attempts in the box. Moving on to the Spurs game, huge result for Spurs. A lot of people question Spurs' attack with Mourinho, but Son has been one of the most dominant performers this season. 2 goals and assists for him, as well as his partner Harry Kane. And then another thing to note with Spurs is going to be Aurier and Reguilon were very attacking. Nice to see that from them. They both had penalty touches, and they both had shots in the box, and obviously Aurier had that goal. Moving on to Aston Villa and Liverpool. Big thing was Adrian starting. Very worrying for Liverpool defense owners, including myself. Adrian, he's started 16 games for Liverpool, and he's only had 2 clean sheets. It was nice to see Salah owners, come up with that brace. A lot of people rising in the ranks with that Salah captaincy pick. For good on you guys. And then another interesting trend I'm seeing personally is, these championship strikers are coming good. And we're seeing that with Ollie Watkins here with a hat trick. Really impressive performance by Aston Villa. I think the tactics were perfect. Grealish, he had 3 assists on top of his brace. And then good to see McGinn healthy, and he had a goal as well. A new transfer was Ross Barkley. This is someone everyone should be on their watch list highly. This guy had 4 shots in the box. So keep an eye on this guy. Anything you want to add about those games, Jason?
Yeah, I'll say the Liverpool game was obviously shocking. I'm pretty interested in Aston Villa now. I liked them defensively before the Barkley transfer. Now that he's in, I think their offense is worth a look in fantasy as well, as they kind of showed against Liverpool.
Yeah, definitely. There's many options. Watkins, Grealish, and Barkley would be a nice budget option at 5.9 too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, just going on to see how we did. Yeah, so currently I had a red arrow. I'm 593k. Overall 242 points. Defense kind of helped me a little bit with Semedo and McCarthy, Walker-Peters. I wish I would have captained Salah. It was kind of a coin flip. It was kind of a coin flip. The smart choice, as soon as we found out Mane had COVID, that might have been, a lot of people said that was the play and that was the trigger to start to captain Salah. Good on those guys, really, because De Bruyne blanked, Jimenez blanked, or Werner blanked, Calvert-Lewin, it was nice to see him being nice and consistent. Overall, I was a little bit, I don't like the way my team looks right now, so I do have a wild card in play. We'll talk about it a little bit in next week. Right now, I'm not even really thinking too much about it. I'm just trying to grab the players that I think could rise 0.2. So people like Kane, Son, etc.
Okay.
Jason, anything you want to add on my team?
Let's see. So you're on a wild card. I know you're not too far into it yet, but I guess the big question I have is what's your strategy with Kai Havertz right now?
Yeah, it's extremely. I was very high on Chelsea. specifically the Germans. They've not done well. Currently, Kai Havertz is not in my plans to be in my team in the future. If I were looking at a Chelsea fantasy option, I would consider Pulisic if you're considering Havertz, because his price is real nice right now with all the price drops.
Yep.
All right. Let's go to your team, Jason. How'd you do?
Pretty good week overall. Got some green arrows, so I'm back inside the top 2 million. I'll take the little victories where I can right now.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, so Southampton defense double up I have with McCarthy and Walker Peters came through. And I think they're they're on the bright side now. I think they righted the ship a little bit, so I'm pretty happy with both those guys in my team now. Souček didn't get a goal again, but that guy is due for a goal anytime now. He's staying in my team even despite the drop to 4.9. James Rodriguez, I've been one of his biggest backers all year, and he continues to reap the rewards for me. 2 goals, 1 assist, max bonus. That guy is just on fire right now.
Yeah, James was your number 1 choice for transfers in, and it's came in well for you. So good on you for that.
Yeah, I'm glad I said that in the beginning of the season. We have that on video.
That's good.
Yeah, one thing to note is he will get back late from international duty before they play Liverpool. Hopefully that won't affect his status in the game, but just something to keep an eye on. Moving on, Salah, I wish I would have captained him. It was, like you said, it's kind of a coin flip between him and KDB. I ended up going KDB because I thought there'd be more goals in that Leeds game. So a little unfortunate there, but KDB hit the post. It was a very open game. There was lots of chances. I'm still high on him going forward. My forward line has kind of been my weak spot all year, and they continued to be my weak spot in this week. I transferred in Jimenez, and he didn't come through. He still has the fixtures, so I'm staying on him. I think Timo Werner will be coming out of my squad probably this week for I'm looking at Calvert-Lewin right now. I could potentially upgrade to like Kane or Vardy if I wanted to, or I could even go to Danny Ings if I wanted another alternative. So I have options. I haven't decided on what to do yet because I have a few points in the bank, but I'm leaning towards Calvert-Lewin right now.
Right, and I think you got a little bit more to talk about him later, yeah?
I do, yeah.
Okay, yeah, what do you think? What are you gonna do then about Werner? Timo Werner.
So unless some injuries happen on the international break, I think he's the next one coming out of my team. I unfortunately took the price drop on him down to 9.3 because I didn't want to move too quickly during the break.
Yeah.
But I think unless something drastic happens, he'll be the one coming out of my squad this week for my 1 free transfer.
Okay. Now, are you going to play a hit at all or anything? Do you plan on... I mean, you also have Adams.
Yeah, I'm not planning on the hit yet. Adams, he's obviously not delivering on his underlying stats. His expected goal involvement delta is probably, I think, the highest among all forwards in the league right now. So I think we're kind of getting to that point where it's like either he's going to deliver, or we just have to accept the fact that he's not a good enough real life player to deliver on the chances he's getting.
Yeah, I think that's the case, but I'm not going to blame you.
Yeah, he'll get some returns at some point, but the question is it worth hanging on to him when there's so many great forwards, especially budget forwards out there right now?
Exactly. Okay, so let's go on to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Jason, this was your key spotlight player for the week?
It's my player spotlight right here. So he's probably going to be my transfer in over this international break, assuming nothing crazy happens. So what are some key stats I'm looking at for this guy, and why do I want him on my team? Number one for big chances for all forwards in the league with 6. That's definitely a big product of the team behind him, specifically James Rodriguez and Richarlison, and to a lesser extent, guys like Luca Digne. They are massive creators, and he is just a battering ram in the box who's reaping the benefits. Number 3 in expected goals so far this year at 3.74. And for all the chances he's getting, he has the 6th highest goal conversion rate at 40%. So he's been very clinical so far as well. And if you look at that heat map, I kind of just put a target on where he's at.
Yeah, Fox in the box.
And it's right in front of the goal.
Fox in the box.
Yeah, so he is the truest poacher in the league right now.
For sure.
Carlo Ancelotti is saying, like, don't take more than one touch. Just put the ball in the back of the net with your first touch every time.
It's coming good, though. Real good.
Yeah, it's exactly what he's doing. So I think it's hard to go away from this guy right now. He's still only 7.6, so it's still very affordable.
Mm-hmm. So now, would you consider him essential? That's really the main question here.
It's hard to consider any forward essential right now just because there's so many good options. I think you could find a pretty good combination, whichever way you want to do it. But I think he's as close to essential as a forward as you can get, given his 7.6 price point, his team context, and just the form he's in right now.
Okay, so kind of on the fence answer there, huh?
Yeah, it's hard for me to say anyone's essential as a forward right now. There's just too many options.
Okay. I'm going to lean essential, in my opinion.
Okay.
I did get him, I think I have him at 7.0 or whatever. 7.6, you guys really got to get him on your team if you don't already. That's how I see him. I mean, we'll see. Did he get called up to England? Do you know?
Yeah, he did get called up.
Okay. That'd be the only thing to worry about is if he gets an injury or something.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting on the transfer just in case. But I think with England, he's one of the few players who's not having off-the-field issues right now, breaking quarantine and whatever.
Yeah.
So...
They had it was Tammy Abraham had like a party or birthday party or something.
Yeah, I think it was Abraham and Sancho was there and someone else too.
Yeah, someone else. Yeah.
Chilwell maybe.
I want to say you're right, Chilwell. Yeah. All right, so let's go on to my player spotlight here. This is a player that a lot of people were really worried about coming into the season. They're talking about Mourinho. Then they saw how far back he dropped. A lot of concerns. But overall, I think, you saw Calvert-Lewin he was number 1, 6 big chances. Harry Kane's number 2. He's got 5. He's also number 1 in the shots in the box. For forwards, he has the most assists. Obviously, there's a little bit of a skew with all the 4 assists to Son that one game week. There's some skew there, but with those huge games against Man United too. So I don't expect him to be number 1 in assists and number 2 in big chances all year round. But this guy is going to produce for you 100%.
And he's on penalties.
Yeah, and he's on penalties. I think he's only had, I want to say he's had 1 penalty. Is that correct? It was against Man United, right?
Yeah, I think that's the only one he's had.
He's only, compare that to like a Vardy, who had, so many penalties. This guy is going to be huge this season as far as I can tell, and so far. Now, and we also know on top of that, he's got Gareth Bale coming in too. I still think he will be the lead of the team. He's a guy that's the go-to for the chance creation, but he's also still gonna be, he's a lethal striker, and he's still scoring, and he's still getting in the box. You see his next fixtures, everything looks great. Even maybe Man City could be great, we don't know yet. So overall, I would say, there's a lot of great forwards to consider, and when you consider that, you should also think, does Harry, if you have someone like a Jamie Vardy, if you have someone, maybe if you're thinking about a Kun Aguero, consider Harry Kane on your team at that 10 point. I think he's 10.6 now price point. I just snagged him. Currently, he is on my wildcard team at 10.6. I mean 10.5. Like I'm still kind of deciding if I want Son or Kane. I'm not 100% sure on that. Or if I just want both, that's an option too. Okay, so big thing this week, it was the deadline. October 5th it ended, and we saw a lot of changes, a lot of key changes. We've already seen people like Ross Barkley produce with Aston Villa. So these are some of our watches on who we think could have an impact on their team, not necessarily fantasy-wise, but on their team overall. Agree, Jason?
Yep, yeah, I think overall the deadline was a little bit of a letdown considering a lot of the rumored deals out there. But still, there's value to be had, so we should look into this and see who's gone where and what kind of impact they're going to have.
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about any of these players real quick?
See, we can just run through this real quick. Brewster going to Sheffield. Obviously, that's a big deal because Sheffield really need a forward who can score some goals. He's only 4.5 in fantasy, so kind of like the ultimate playing enabler as a forward. I'm a little bit scared as to how many chances Sheffield are going to make for him, but he has the potential to be a pretty big steal at his price.
Right, exactly. The main thing about Sheffield is that they've only had 4 big chances created so far, and they've only scored 1 goal. So that's going to be the main worry for Brewster.
Exactly.
I'll just speak a little bit. We're seeing Arsenal. We're talking about, they've made so many changes to their defense and bringing in this nice holding midfielder, top-class midfielder and Party. Another change to their defense. So it's just something you guys should look out for in terms of defenders. We saw Bellerin. He had 2 assists recently. I think it was last game week. So something to take a look out for is Arsenal's defense options. Maybe there should be some good value there.
Yeah, so basically you're saying Partey is going to improve the team, make them better for fantasy, but not a player you want to take himself.
Right, could improve your clean sheets for the defense.
Yep.
And then a little bit different, we go to Leeds, such a interesting team, such a volatile team. They've brought in Rafinha from League One. Not 100% sure about Rafinha myself. I haven't watched him too much. I will say he did have 22 appearances, 5 goals and 3 assists last season.
Okay, and that's as a right winger primarily.
Yep.
Okay, so he'll be competing with Costa at Leeds then for that spot most likely.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see them splitting time and almost killing each other's value at that point.
That'd be terrible for fantasy, but
yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, Costa's been good.
Speaking of potential timeshares in fantasy, let's move on to Cavani.
Yeah, tell me a little bit, or I'll tell you. He had, last season he didn't start consistently because Mauro Icardi came from Inter, their big transfer. But he did have 2018-2019 when he had 21 appearances, 18 goals, 5 assists. Tell me a little bit, Jason, what you think of Cavani in general from the time watching.
So yeah, he's definitely good in the air. So that's going to give Man United a kind of different point in attacks. Right now, their current forwards are better on the ground. So I think that'll be interesting, especially with the next guy, Telles, being brought in. He has a great cross on him. So I think crossing to Cavani's head could be a nice plan B in a lot of situations. And the chance of Cavani even earning the starting job is still available. I think as of right now, the forward line is probably still going to be Rashford, Martial, Greenwood. but we'll see how he works into there and if he can earn a spot consistently.
Okay, and then how about Tellez? Are you high on Tellez at all?
So I think he'll be if he were to start every week, I think he'd be a pretty good fantasy asset. He is 5.5, so a little pricey, but he's very much known for his attacking abilities, crossing the ball, shooting the ball, going forward. Not so much defensively. But I don't think he necessarily walks into the starting lineup ahead of Luke Shaw. I think they'll kind of battle it out, maybe even rotate a little bit. So I just keep my eye on that battle for a while and see who comes out of it. If Tellez does come out and Main United's form increases a bit, I think he might be a good option to look at.
Okay. How about Ben Godfrey? Anything on this guy? Do you think he's going to be a starter?
Tough to say. I wasn't quite sure. I know he was pretty highly rated at Norwich last season, and I saw him put in a few pretty good performances when I watched them. So when he comes into Everton, I think he's primarily a left-sided center back, which is where Michael Keane tends to play. So I guess it's tough for me to imagine him starting over Keane, but we'll see what happens. I think that's another wait and see to see how it all shakes out.
And then here, Ross Barkley. This guy was huge when he was on Everton. Currently, he's priced at 5.9. His last season at Everton was 16-17. He had 144 fantasy points, 5 goals, 11 assists. Currently at that 5.9 price, he's definitely someone I'm considering. Jason, what do you think of Barkley?
Yeah, it sounds like great value to me. Aston Villa obviously looked great this last weekend. I think he slotted in immediately, very nicely. With him and Grealish behind Watkins, I think their attack's going to be a lot better than what it has been. So I think between both him and Grealish, for that matter, there's two pretty affordable options that could be great fantasy contributors.
Okay. And Ruben Diaz, do you think he's going to help Man City keep clean sheets?
I mean, he's not going to be worse than what they had, but we'll see how he adjusts to the Premier League. I think in the long run, he'll be a good signing. I know he's been pretty highly rated in Portugal, playing at Benfica. Starts for the national team usually as well. So I think once he settles in, he'll definitely help City out. I don't know if he'll get a lot of clean sheets. They seem a little leaky still, but we'll see how it all shakes out.
And then Southampton, they started. Everyone said they were worried about their high line. Now they've got a few clean sheets in them, and now they've also signed a holding midfielder here in Diallo. Obviously this guy's not going to be a fantasy option, but he can also help Southampton with keeping clean sheets. So people like Kyle Walker-Peters, you might want to relook at. Yeah, Jason?
Yeah, I'm already pretty high on Walker-Peters anyways, just going forward. So if he has more clean sheet potential, all the better.
And then Loftus-Cheek is mainly just someone I'm watching. Not too high on him right now. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I think with Fulham, with their transfers, I'm not too interested in the players themselves. Loftus-Cheek or Anderson or the City center back they signed as well. But it could prevent them from being quite the whipping boys they have been. So that'd be the only watch out I have with them.
My guess is they're still going to be the whipping boys. I don't think they did enough in the transfer season. Okay, so finally we'll talk a little bit about our top 3 recommendations. For me personally, I wouldn't say any of these guys are instant put on your team. I'd say the guy, if he can actually stay healthy, which he has a problem with, and if he can take that number 9 slot from Martial, Cavani probably has the most uprise. He's got the greatest risk, greatest reward. So that's someone I would keep an eye on. I do expect him to take it from Martial. What do you think of that, Jason?
For me, it's kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
Martial for most of last year. I know he hasn't started this year in the best of form,
Yeah.
but he was Man United's Player of the Year last year, playing really well as a number 9. So I think Cavani will be more of like a plan B. Like I said, he'll probably come on as a sub in matches or maybe play some of the lesser matches to give Martial a break. If he does wrestle the number 9 spot away from him, though, at this point, my guess would be Greenwood would be the one to go to the bench, and then Martial and Rashford would
Interesting.
start either side of him.
Oh,
But
yeah, that could definitely be an option.
yeah, but we'll see how it all works out. I know he may have to quarantine for 2 weeks after coming to the UK, so he might not even be ready for the first match after the international break when Martial is suspended. So we'll see with that. We'll keep your eye on news for that because I don't think there's been an official announcement yet.
Next one's gonna be Brewster. Again, all these guys I'm not adding on my team right away. The only guy I would say could be add on your team right away would be Barkley. But Brewster, I'm a little bit concerned because he's joining Sheffield, a team that's only scored 1 goal. He is 4.5, so it could be great if you need that, if you're on a wild card or something and you need that space to price in those premium midfielders, you could consider Brewster. Last, I've got Barkley, like I've already said, 16-17, 5 goals, 11 assists, 144 points. That's the last time he played for Everton. We saw him already return. Jason, what do you think of Barkley?
Yeah, I think he'll be a nice option. Like you said, he's probably the best one to come into your team right away if you wanted to get a deadline edition. I'm personally not rushing out to get him quite yet, but he's definitely one I have on my watch list for now.
Mm-hmm. So, Jason, tell me, we pretty much had the same additions.
Yep.
Are you any different opinions to me? Are you high on anyone more than me or anything?
Well, I listed Brewster first, and that's primarily a function of his price at 4.5. I guess my thought there is when I look across the 4.5 options at forward and midfield, he is my top overall 4.5 priced player. So that's why he gets the top spot for me.
Okay.
And then if he starts scoring goals for Sheffield United, all the better, and then he becomes even more valuable.
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to add on Cavani or Barkley?
No, I think I touched on Cavani all that I need to for now. I think I gave all my thoughts on him. And then, like I said, Barkley, he's on my watch list. If you want to get him in now at 5.9, that wouldn't be a bad idea. But for me, he's still a watch list player for now.
Yeah, for Barkley, I would just say there's just so many other There's like Grealish is such a great option too. I'll likely have either Barkley or Grealish on my team for my wild card, but I haven't totally thought about that yet. Grealish did have 3 assists, and he's a little bit more proven for that team, but he is a pricier too. Other thing I'll just say about Cavani is this guy is he's an extremely consistent striker. He's played and done well in Italy and France, as well as his national team. So that's the one thing, Martial, he is not as consistent of a striker. This is another reason why I think this could be a reason why Cavani might take that 9 from him. Just something to think about. I'm obviously not adding Cavani on my team right away or anything.
Yeah, wait and see for sure.
Yeah. All right, I think that just about wraps up this week's video. Again, if you guys like the content, one more thing I forgot about is our league. So big shout out to Brendan. He maintains that top 1 spot, and then Phil FPL Sorcerer and JCA. A lot of big time players in the top 10, captaining Salah. So big up on you guys for doing that, taking that call. You guys made an excellent call there, and a good job on the green arrows. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up our video for this week. Again, if you guys like the content, please subscribe, like, give us a comment. Maybe share with me what your opinions are on what to do with my wild card this week. What players are you guys thinking of bringing in? Are you guys doing a wild card too? What do you think, Jason? Anyone you'd recommend to me?
Well, I'm not on a wild card, but if I was, I think some other cheap midfield options I was looking at are Leandro Trossard of Brighton looks really good to me. Matthias Pereira for West Brom is actually a pretty solid option in midfield as well. Budget strikers, one we didn't mention yet today, so I'll throw him in here, is Neil Maupay.
Yeah.
He is playing extremely well with a great underlying stats. I think that's another great budget option if you're on a wild card to consider.
Neil Maupay was just about that. Harry Kane just barely took it from Maupay in terms of my player spotlight this week. But that's definitely someone I would definitely consider.
Yeah, I considered all those guys for my spotlight as well. It was a tough choice.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back next week with our watch list, a little bit more on my wild card and game week 5 preview in general.
Yep.
All right. That's it for now. Take care, guys.
All right. See ya.